Alright guys, are you getting sick of seeing the same movements in all these watches, mainly the NH35? I know I am getting a little bit bored of them, so that's why this is going to be an interesting one I think. Perhaps it'll even light up your day. Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. That's because this is actually using a solar movement, and it's actually the second one on the channel I've checked out that's going to be using a solar movement. If you haven't seen that one, I'll leave a link to it up on the top, and also down in the description if you want to check that out after this one. So this is the Baltany S6070 Solar Military Chronograph. So it's nice to see Baltany mixing things up a bit, because they do tend to do quite a lot of similar kind of watches. So we'll get this out of the way for a second, and briefly show you the packaging. So you've got the Baltany branding on the outside box, and then we've got that nice watch roll in there. So it is actually pretty usable. And here's the actual watch. So there's a couple of different dial options with this one. I've got the brown dial, but they also do it in black. I am liking this brown dial though, something a little bit different, and I just think it looks really good too. Goes with the photina on there as well, and complements it nicely I think. And as I said, this is a solar watch, so there's a few little interesting details that might not be immediately apparent, which we'll get into as we get into the review. But before we do that, first of all, let's go over the dimensions. So we've got a diameter of 39mm, a thickness of 12.2, lug width of 20, then the all-important lug to lug is coming in at 46.8, and then when it comes to the weight on this supplied strap, that's coming in at 63 grams. So pretty nice dimensions overall. You could say maybe it's a touch on the thick side, but let's go into a bit more detail on the strap and start with the buckle. So you can see we've got the Baltany branding on there, and it's fully brushed. Nicely done. Baltany don't go overboard on the branding, so it's only on a couple of places on this watch. When it comes to the strap, it's pretty standard again. They've been using this strap on a lot of different watches. On the other side, the only thing we've got on there is the fact that it's genuine leather. Got some nice stitching on there though, on the end and also on the top near the lugs. But I would like to see them start using a few different straps just to mix things up a bit on the different watches, because they all kind of blend together sometimes when they use the exact same strap. And I'll show you in a bit a couple of straps I've actually been wearing this on more. But before we do that, let's get onto the head of the watch. So you can see we've got the unsigned crown there. As I said, they only tend to have the branding on the dial and also on the buckle on Baltany watches. And then we've got the pushers either side as well. Again, nothing on them. Got a nice curvature to that case though with those lugs, so they will conform to wrist nicely. And it's a fully brushed case. The only bit of polishing we've got is that tiny little strip around the bottom of the bezel, just to break it up slightly. And you can see we've got some nice detailing on that crown as well, and on the pushers, so nice and grippy there. And we've also got that double dome crystal as well. We'll be checking in a bit if that's sapphire, but before we do that, let's talk about the dial, because there's quite a bit going on here. So we've got the two sub dials, as you can see, standing out straight away, one at the 12, one at the 6. They are actually slightly sunken as well, and we've got a nice sunburst effect on them. And surprisingly, we've also got hands on there on those sub dials that actually got a loom on, so we'll be checking that in a bit, see if it's any good. When it comes to the rest of the dial, it's all fully printed, nothing applied. So we've got the numbers on there, the minutes, and then also those indices in that photina, matching the photina on the hands. Well, the hour and the minute hand anyway. The sub dials have actually got the same weight as the numbers. Then when it comes to the branding, we've got the Baltany just next to that date window at the 3 o'clock. So it is quite cluttered on that side. Also that date window is fairly small too. So it is a little bit cramped when you've got the 2 digits in there. And then next to the 9, we've just got the chronograph text. So it kind of balances it out the way they've done that. I do quite like that. I'm normally a fan of less text the better, but as I say, I think it helps with the symmetry. When it comes to the hands as well, they're all really good length. No issues with any of them. The only hand that is a little bit difficult to see is that chrono hand, but you're not going to be using it all that often. And once it is actually moving, obviously, it'll be easier to see. And then the only other thing on the dial is that printed minute rack around the outside. So, as I said earlier, this is interesting though because it is a solar movement. So this dial is actually slightly transparent. If you look around that date window, you can just about see through it a little bit. You can see the date window underneath, even around underneath that cutout. But I won't go into detail on the movement just yet. We'll talk about that in a bit. So before we do that, let's check out whether we've actually got sapphire crystal or not on this. Because it is actually a double domed crystal, but again, is it sapphire? Let's find out now, using the trusty diamond selector tool. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal, so that's always good to see. So now let's get on to what makes this watch special, and that is the movement. So it's an Epson VS71 solar quartz. So it's actually got a 6-month power storage, so if you fully charge it in the sun during the day, that'll last you 6 months without going in the sun again, until you'll have to top it up obviously. Obviously that's probably not the way you're going to be using it, but it's good to know if you aren't going to wear it for a while. If you have a lot of watches, you can do that. With normal usage though, you're probably not going to have to worry about it at all, because obviously it's going to be getting in the sun every day you're wearing it. So it's just going to be getting topped up daily. So enough talking about it, let's show you what it's like in action. So if we unscrew the crown, which again is really nice and grippy. And then if we pop it out to the first position, then we can change that date. And then pop it out to the second one. You can see the second hand stops down on that subdial, so we've got hacking. And then we can just change the time. Then when we pop it back in, the second hand will re-engage. All works well, no issues at all. And then obviously just screw that back down again, really nice and easy to do. Nice big grippy crown. But now let's move on to the pushers, which are also screw down too. So if we just unscrew them, again they've got the same grip on as the crown, so really easy to use. Press the top one, then that chrono hand will start. But as I said, it is a touch difficult to see. And then if we press that again, it will stop. Press the bottom one, it will sweep round and reset. If you haven't got it aligned, you can actually adjust it because it is a quartz one. But I didn't have to do that with mine. Mine's spot on, so I've not got a problem there. But if you do want to change it, I think if you hold down the bottom pusher whilst pressing the top one, it will let you adjust it. I think that's the way you do it anyway, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, someone do let me know down in the comments, and everyone else obviously. Been a while since I've had to do that. And then obviously when you're done with that, don't forget to screw down those pushers again, because you do want to make sure you've still got that full water resistance, which on this is actually 100 meters. So you've got the screw down crown, screw down pushers, and also you've got that screw down case back as well. But now it's time to get onto the loom and talk about that. So the question is this loom going to charge up well as the battery while you're in the sun? Or is it going to struggle a bit because we've got that photina and also we've only got a fully printed dial, nothing applied? There's only one way to find out, so let's check that out now. So we've got a little bit there already, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. And there we go. So you can see it's pretty impressive, at least initially. We've actually got a mixture of two different looms on this. So on the numbers, we've got BGW9, actually, and on the subdial hands as well, sorry. On the hour and minute hands and those indices, we've actually got C3 with a bit of photina, which isn't the most apparent on camera. It's actually looking a little bit like it's all BGW9, but hopefully that will adjust, given a little bit of time, and you'll be able to see it a bit more clearly. So considering this is a fully printed dial with nothing applied, they've got a really good amount on there, I think. There's no patchiness at all. It's actually consistent across the hands and the indices, despite the different loom being used. But the question is that going to continue once we speed this up? Let's find out now. So to begin with, as you'd expect, not a great deal of change, but the more we go on, you will see certain bits do fade a little bit, but again, not as much as I was expecting. I thought the photina bits were going to really struggle and fade pretty quickly. I was a bit worried about the hands, but I didn't need to be, because it's actually looking pretty good. Still pretty consistent, despite the two different looms being used, as I said. But you can see now, they are far more distinct. You can actually see the difference between the two. The camera's picking it up a bit better. Given the constraints they're working with, I think they've done a really good job. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with this one. So hopefully you can see now, as we've come to expect from Baltany, it's shaping up to be a pretty compelling overall package, I think. But it's not perfect. There are a few little bits that I would change. So I'll show you what it's like now on wrist, go over the pros and cons, and I'll also show you on a couple of different straps that I've been wearing on more as well. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. So I do think it looks good, and it wears nicely as well. As I mentioned earlier, with those pretty nice compact dimensions, and those nice bit of curvature to the lugs as well, conforms to wrist nicely. It's always nice to have the branding on the buckle as well, which we have got on here. So they haven't got it everywhere, but the places they have got it are the places I would want it, on the dial and on the buckle. They haven't gone overboard with the branding and put it everywhere. When it comes to the legibility, you can see it's pretty legible. As I said earlier though, the only thing that you might struggle to see a little bit is that chronograph hand. I really like this brown dial version as well, and because it is a semi-transparent dial as well, it just gives a pretty interesting look to it. I like the detailing on those sub-dials as well, with the sunburst, and the fact that they're also sunken as well. And I do really appreciate the fact that they've actually put hands on there with a bit of lume too. That isn't always the case with these kind of style of watches. One thing I would like to see them change though is the straps. I'd like to see them offer some different straps, because with this one they've been using it for quite a lot of different watches, including these two down here. Obviously this one here's got a bracelet, and if you want to see all the different Baltany watches I've reviewed so far, I'll leave a link to that up in the top, the playlist, and also down in the description. But perhaps this one would look quite good with a bracelet. What do you think? I definitely think changing the strap can change the look and make it look even better, and here's a couple that I really like. So first up we've got this one. I think this complements it quite nicely. It's not the same colour, but it's like a subtle kind of grey, almost really light brown maybe. This is from Vario, and it's a really soft, supple strap. And it's actually quick release as well, which is another thing I wish Baltany would start adding to their watches. So this one's actually a German leather, and it's from Vario as I said, so I'll leave a link to this down in the description as well if you want to check this out and maybe pick one of these up. They do have some really nice straps. And they aren't just leather as well, they do different ones too. But let's get on to the next one. And this is another one from Vario. Again, this is a German leather one, but obviously this one is a brown, so it's matching the dial. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this one. I'm not sure if this one works better or if the other one does. Let me know down in the comments which one do you think looks best. Do you prefer your straps to contrast the dial, or do you like them to be the same colour? As I say, I've been wearing both of these interchangeable, as I can't quite make my mind up either way. I think they both look good for different reasons. But getting back to the point I was trying to make with this, I think it's about time now Baltany started mixing up the straps they're putting on their watches instead of using the same one on every single watch. Perhaps they could offer a few different colour options so you can mix and match a bit. Because if they offered something like these Vario straps, I think that would take them just to another level again. Or perhaps if they even offered the bracelet option you've got on that other Baltany I showed you before. That being said though, overall, it is a nice watch and I would recommend it. Especially with it being that solar as well. It's just something different, and you can always swap out the straps if you really want. As always, I'll put the links to everything I've talked about in the video down in the description. But that's it for this one guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.